Good morning. This is H again coming at you with a Autodesk Inventor tutorial. This one we're going to be again looking at multiple different tools all in one part file, kind of continuing with stage one. That what we've been looking at as far as making a drawing on the front view of the XY plane, and then continuing from there, like extruding the part file. So this part file is going to do a little bit of combination of some different tools that we've used in the past through the series. We're going to be looking at circle tools, the 2-point rectangles, the center point rectangle tool, fillet tool. So just continuing with what we've already kind of looked at so far, practicing that with a new part file that we have here. So without any further delay, we can get into that. So this is our part file for this video here. This is distance plate 212. Here is the object in its entirety here. So we have our front view, our top view, and then our isometric three-dimensional view. As we zoom in a little bit, we can see that once again, our front view is giving us the most information. This is both numerical, dimensional information, as well as visual with these circles and this square that's cut out of the middle and the fillets and all those great little features of this part. So this is our drawing that we're going to go by as we make this part file. So you can follow along and you can do this, and this will be the drawing that I will be referencing throughout this video here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to open, and this is our part file that we're going to be using. It is a metrics a millimeter part. So make sure to go to the metric template folder, our standard millimeter IPT part file, and we're going to create that. We'll give Inventor a moment here to catch up to us. We'll see what happens. There it goes. It's taken its time today. Hope everybody's had a great day. Feeling good? All right. So as we look forward, there it goes. It's having some issues in this video, but that's okay. Show must go on. Here we go. So here's our part file. We have our tabs are here, 3D model, sketch like normal. Our model browser window is here, and then our three-dimensional window here, our three-dimensional environment is over here for drawing. Again, our first step is to start a sketch. In this case, again, it is on the XY plane, being the front plane. Now, this part file has another unique feature to it, very similar to if you did the square plate in an earlier video, where everything is kind of centered about the origin point, right? So in this particular part, again, rather than do the origin point like down over here and drawing in the first quadrant of the grid, we can just actually start right here in the center and come out from there, right? Now, again, we always want to use our tools to create the outside perimeter of the part file, working our way inward to the internal components of the part file. And so we're going to be doing it that way this time around as well. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the rectangle tool, 2-point center. Because the first thing we're going to do is the outside perimeter, we're actually going to make this a box and then use trimming and the line tool to kind of reform the left and right vertical sides of this part file. So here we have, it is a 100 millimeter by 100 millimeter box, right? That's it right there. Fully constrained. It's good. Its center point is here. Now, the next thing, since we have our outside perimeter of our part file nearly complete, is we need to add the cutouts that are here. So what happens is like, so this is our center line here. That's our midpoint. We're just going to come up from the midpoint and just of a general area. We're just going to draw our line here that we need. This line is 20 millimeters. It comes down another 40 millimeters. And then it goes back in 20 millimeters again, right? 20 millimeters. We'll make sure this is at 90 degrees and we should be good. There we go. Perpendicular it is. Oops. Hit escape. There we go. Hit escape again. So we have our 90 degree, our 20. So what's missing here, one dimension needed, is where this is vertically, right? Where is this line measured from. And this is actually measured from the top here, right here. And this is approximately, no, not approximately, this is, there it is. So we have 30. There it is. Right? So it's 20 from this line to the middle. And so we have, if we have 50, then we have 30 that's left over, right? So this line is 30 from the top. We're going to have another one on this side over here that's going to be the same. But now we can trim out this middle section here, right? I didn't like that because there's a dimension property there. So if we delete this dimension really quick, then we trim this. Oh, it doesn't like that either. Oh, it's this one. We gotta trim out that, trim that. We're just gonna delete all these dimensions. Delete the constraint. There it is. Okay, that was an ordeal. So we have 100, we got 30, we got 20, this is 40. I'm just gonna redo these dimensions here again. There we go. Now we're fully constrained again. So wow, there's a lot there that we just did, like without really going through it. What I ended up having to do there to trim that line out was to delete the dimensions, but more than that, there was a parallel constraint between this line and this full line that was here. And it was a constraint like this, right? This constraint here. And the only way to find that constraint is to click on the line, and you can see they appear. This is the parallel one here. You can see it's parallel with this line is parallel to this line down here. They're highlighted red right now. So I had to delete that, which is just selecting it and hitting the delete key on the keyboard. This is the horizontal constraint. And of course, this is the perpendicular constraint. So with you can edit those and delete those, but they're automatically added while you're sketching and drawing, especially with the the 2-point center rectangle tool that we used. It's going to automatically have the parallel constraints, etc. on there. So good to know, right? So now we got to do the same thing over again here. We got to do our line that's 20, our line that's 40, this line that's 20, and obviously we have an error right here, right? So this is another chance to kind of show you what that looks like, right? This line is not a vertical line. It's not perpendicular to this line. It's perpendicular. This is perpendicular to that, right? Those two red lines are perpendicular to each other because that's there, right? So we can add some constraints just by going through this. So we didn't automatically add those in there. So I can make those two lines perpendicular just like that. And that should automatically place this right in the spot I need it to be. Because if this is perpendicular, this will automatically be perpendicular, even without the constraint actually being there, right? Because it's a vertical line now, perpendicular to this horizontal line, right? So now that we have that, we can dimension to the top again. This is going to be 30 once again. And now we can trim out what we do not need, which is there. And that worked out much, much easier than the one before it, right? Because now we have that. Now we're fully constrained, and we can still do the outside edge. We actually have a fillet that is going to be happening. So we go to the fillet tool, and all these corners, we got 8 corners here, are all going to have a fillet of 10 millimeters. So we have this one, then these two, then these two, and these two. Now, so you can just click on the 2 lines that make that corner, and you can turn that corner into a curve. That's the fillet tool. You could also try to do it where you click on the corner. Like, so this one is not letting me do it because probably this construction line. So I can click both those lines. But if I go to this corner, I'm kind of clicking both those lines at the same time. I can fillet that corner. Same with this one. This one, again, since that construction line is there meeting that corner, I have to click on both. Right? I can right click and click OK, and that will complete the outside perimeter as we filleted all 8 of those corners, 10 millimeters, 10 millimeter radius of a fillet. So we got that. Now we got to do the internal. Now the super easy internal component feature is another center point square, center point rectangle that's here, that's 20 by 20. And that's done. And this is why we did the center point drawing at the origin like we did, because both the internal feature and the outer perimeter both shared a center point. That's why we made the center point on the origin, right? So our design intent is that this thing has the same center point. If we wanted to change the sizing of it, it would all change based upon that same center point in the middle of these two features. And so it remains centered on that origin, right? So that's perfect. Then we need to finish up. I'm going to move these 20s out of the way here because we're going to be drawing circles. We have 4 circles to draw. They are 12 millimeters in size. So let's just do that real quick. And they're going to fall kind of in between here like this, right? You can see those dotted lines up here. They are kind of in the middle of these features, but we can verify this with dimensions later, right? So this is 12. We have another one here. This is going to be 12. We have another one here. This is going to be 12. And we have our last one here, which is also 12, right? So now we can verify where these positionally are. And again, we have 8 dimensions needed. It makes sense because we have 4 circles. We need 2 dimensions per circle, both for the X value placement and the Y value placement. I say this all the time. It's just what we need to do. So dimension tool, from the center to this circle here is 35 millimeters. So we can do this actually from the center point, from origin, right? We can click on the circle, come down to the origin point and click one more time. And this becomes 35. Now it is 35, but I want to type it in just to make sure like it is 35, everything's kosher, everything's good, right? And then we need to do the same thing, circle to the center point, but instead of doing a vertical 35, we need a horizontal number now of 40. And those are the dimensions that are needed for each one of these circles. And again, our dimensions should be very close because of the way I put these circles in there. I was going between the 2 center points of the fillet. I was using those dotted lines, those construction lines that kind of automatically appear as you draw to line up the circle center points with those dotted lines of the center points of those other things that were happening. So that's going to make this a bit easier to dimension. We dimension this circle again. 40 looks good. And then down to the same center point, the origin, 35 is perfect. And we do it again. 35. And then we do the horizontal, 40, absolutely. And then let's do this one horizontal first, because it really doesn't matter which one's first or which one's second. It is all good. 35. There it is. Now we have a fully constrained sketch. Once again, we have everything defined. It is very messy. As you can see, we got dimension lines sitting everywhere, but we know that everything is dimensioned properly and in its place, right? So with that being said, we can go and we can finish this sketch. We have our finished sketch icon here that's kind of beneath my picture, right? And what's the green check mark? So we click finish sketch. We can then expand this out by clicking on the view cube here right in the corner, or you can click the home button on there, like the little one that looks like a little house right next to the view cube home button. There it is. And it gives you this isometric view here. So we can then extrude this profile. Now remember, a profile is any closed in shape, circles, this small square, but this profile here is the basic shape of the part overall, what it's supposed to look like. So this extrusion is 3.5 millimeters. We hit enter and there it is. I can hit the home key again to kind of center up the part. And there is our distance plate 2-12 using the circle tool, using the fillet tool, using, in this case, the center, the 2-point center rectangle tool instead of using lines, right? And there it is. And if we check our mass on our eye properties by right clicking on the part name, going to eye properties physical tab, we can update the eye properties. And there it is. We have 0.026 kilograms, which translates to 26 grams of mass in this material, the generic material. And so if you got that 26 grams or that 0.026 kilogram mass, you have your part file done correctly. Looks great. Join me again next time. Have a great day.